So
Yeah.
welcome to the Art and Hustle Gala Conversations. Welcome back after a week off. This is our weekly inspiring conversations with my beautiful DopeChick spiritual journey, DocSunne. Welcome back here.
Welcome back. Welcome back. It's crazy how life, in just a week, we went from having a nor'easter and then tomorrow it's going to be 50 degrees. So,
oh my God, it's
a metaphor for life.
It is. You have to go with the ups and downs and realize everything is constantly going to change.
It's constantly going to change. And yeah, the changes can be like real extreme.
Yeah.
You go from one extreme to the next. Like in that time, I dropped the new date of The Big Leap.
I know. April 15th, right, everybody?
April 15th, for those who missed it, this one is going to be better. It's not going to be the same event. Same values in terms of bringing women together to connect, to be inspired, and to gain strategy. But what we do during the day,
I'm so excited. So everybody, I was at the last one, The Big Leap, and it was phenomenal. It's like, you got to bring your girlfriend, you got to go and just absorb all of it and just start just absorbing all the energy and changes and be ready for it. Bring your journal, bring your Art and Hustle DocSunne journal.
And if you don't bring one, we will definitely have them there on sale. So you can buy one. You can buy one or two when you get there.
Exactly. So it's you and Tenora, and I'm super excited for you ladies because you guys have such this beautiful energy. And then all your friends that come and support you, that really gives people another example of how life can be and how life can be different in a different perspective. Because a lot of people don't see that kind of friendship and camaraderie and hear those words. So to hear those words live from you and Tenora is a whole nother level experience. So I feel like everybody who's listening to this has to go and sign up.
Oh yeah, and definitely bring a friend. I think people who came with a friend, it's hard. One person was telling me it was hard for me to explain this to a friend who wasn't there. But my other friend that was there, it was almost like we were like, no, and this, and don't forget this, and remember this happened. So I think the experience is magnified.
Yes.
When you go with like a girlfriend, a close girlfriend. And a lot of people came with friends.
Yeah.
A lot of people came with friends. I think the table where you were sitting, there were like two different groups of friends
Yeah, there's two different groups of friends, and they were super nice, and we became best friends like right then and there.
Soaring to new heights.
Soaring to new heights, and I want to let you know that, remind you, soaring is my middle name. Soar.
Is it?
To soar. So the Chinese character that's on all of our journals, that character means to soar.
No way.
So
I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
How amazing is that?
It's a synchronicity.
Yeah. I mean, it's soaring to new heights. And it's funny because I told you, I was like, I'm going to do it in October. We're going to find a really nice location. We'll do a weekend. And I'm like in the shower and I just hear God like, no, you need to do it in April. I'm like, April?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
like
right around the corner, God.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, there was unfinished business.
Yes.
At the first one. And you need to do another one right away. And that there were women who needed to be at the first one.
Yes.
Who will be at this one. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. I feel like this has to continue on, and it has to be like a series, because what you're bringing to the table is like needed. Honestly, like I say this to you last time, like it's the new, you're the new Oprah. We need Oprah every day. We need words of wisdom from you every day. So that long text I sent you, because I was having these brainstorms, and I'm like, I have to tell Sunne-Ryse. Because I don't believe in the word God, but I believe in spirituality. So I'll feel things from the spirituality of things. And as I feel them, I have to tell you. So I always feel, in that long text I sent you, it was like, you're doing your lives on Saturday, right? So as whatever.
You've been off for a little while because you've been resting.
Mhm.
So what has kind of been resonating with you as you've taken this like forced rest?
This forced rest, what's coming up is like it's hard for me to like click back in when I know what I should be doing,
Yeah.
but my exhaustion won't click me back in as quick as I want to. So I feel like
Mhm.
it's either that with ADHD and just like in this mist of fog as I evolve,
Yeah.
hard to click back in.
Mm, I
That's
got
what,
you.
so that seems to be it. So I obviously know things I should be doing, like taking a walk, getting some air,
Yeah.
getting nature, getting some sun. I'm sure I'm like missing some vitamin D's and magnesium.
Mhm.
So I'm aware of all those things. It's just hard for me to click back in,
Yeah.
and it's like when you used to have that fire of making sure I like check off the boxes,
Mhm.
it's like thing where I had to prove to my family and people and society. So that was
Mm,
my drive and fire.
yeah.
Now, as I'm shifting to a different realm,
Mhm.
I don't have that same fire and
Mm.
fear to fire me up. So, like, there has to be a different one
Oh,
to push me to that level. Even though I know I love what I'm doing, still missing that little bit.
I get it. I get it. It is, um, it's been called, I've heard it be called like a strategy for success,
Hmm.
where it was born out of something that you needed or had to do for yourself, right? So it became a strategy for success because by using it, you became successful. But the reason that you had to use the strategy was to protect yourself, to, you know, whatever the reason was, how the strategy was born, it was born out of a necessity.
Yeah, like a fight or flight for me.
Yes. And now you're in a stage of life where you're so aware of yourself that you're like, I don't need to do that
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
You're now trying to find what is my new strategy
yeah,
in so many words. Like,
yeah.
what is that strategy that I use to help me be successful? Being that the strategy that I used before actually is no longer a good strategy. It's probably something that I shouldn't be using to drive me anymore.
No, not at all. So I don't get too worried about being stuck in this stage because I know it's like right before I'm
Mhm.
gonna lift off,
Yeah. Before
you
you
know,
leave, right before
before
you leave.
right before I leap and soar, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sticking to my target of getting my first draft of the book out. After that, I mean, I really want to do um, some sort of podcast therapy where I can help people and coach them or be accountable, or I don't know what exactly I'm going to call it, but I'm going to figure out a plan and I want to start that this year as well. So that's my next business.
I think what would be a great idea is to bring clinicians on.
Hmm.
So the podcast therapy isn't you doing the therapy, you're hosting the podcast,
Yeah.
but the therapists are driving the actual therapy. That
Yeah.
would be really cool,
Yeah.
right? To have, and literally, it's almost like it's podcast therapy for you,
Yeah.
but what you're getting is able to help other people.
Yeah.
So, like, social worker, like anybody
Hmm.
who has that clinical background
Yeah.
could actually be your guest
Hmm.
once I think that's a stunning idea.
Right? That's a stunning idea. I mean,
Yeah.
hustle to healing, DocSunne. I mean,
That is no, really. And I already have names of people that you could probably call
yeah,
tomorrow and have them come on and just ask them ask them the questions you'd want to ask for yourself.
yeah,
And then literally it's almost like people watching you not quite have your own therapy session, but kind of sorta.
yeah,
But
yeah,
you're asking questions for other people. And here you have these amazing people
yeah.
is so powerful.
Hmm.
I mean, and I've been doing a lot of research or whatever, and the statistics right now, one for this younger generation is through
Hmm.
the roof in terms of anxiety,
Yes.
but also an adult anxiety is now on the rise
Yeah.
after the pandemic.
Yes.
And, who would have ever thought that psychologists and social workers would be booked, like overbooked,
Yes. Yes.
and can't take new clients.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a need for what you're saying,
Yeah.
but in a way where you have like, you're grounded by having a professional
Yeah.
who can like give some like tangible in the moment tools
Yeah.
that will have people like, I'm coming back again. I'm coming
Yeah.
back
Yeah,
again.
exactly. I love it. That's what I was trying to figure out, like what I would call my part of it. And then if I had like, the licensed people come on, that would be like podcast therapy.
Yeah.
But for me to help other people, obviously I can't call it real therapy. So I have to
Yeah.
figure what to call it. I don't know, some other wording so they know that I'm not licensed. I mean, I've taken, I don't know if it works, but I took a cognitive brain therapy course online and got a certificate for it, but I don't know if that's like really fully, like it's not really fully certified, but it's a certificate.
Mm-hmm. Those certificates are usually great for individuals who are already working in the field, and
Yeah.
it just adds to the level of what they know.
Yeah.
But I think that like, yeah, I think the having the clinicians on, that's one option.
Hmm.
And then the one that you want to do, just keep refining it.
Yeah.
Keep working at it until the right thing presents itself.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it'll manifest.
Yeah, it'll totally will manifest. It'll figure itself
Yeah.
out because that's what I'm doing with Tam right now, where I've
Mhm.
got her on and I'm helping her like see herself. So like I want to be like a mirror for people on these podcasts because I've always said like there was such a transformation for me to do it and for me to see myself on the TV that I want to gift that to other people for them to see it as well. So I want to be like a mirror, have these conversations like like a workshop kind of thing or whatever, coaching, I don't know what I would call it, but it has to be something where they know it's not like I don't have a license, I'm just like your
Yeah.
support, I'm just your sister, I'm just your mirror.
Mhm.
So I feel like that would be something I want to start as a business after the book and all of that
Mhm.
you know
Well, listen, the time that you took to relax, definitely, I think sometimes the universe will force rest on us.
hmm yes.
It will force rest on us when we have not taken the time to really invest and nurture and take care of ourselves. So
hmm
you got a bit of a forced rest
I did.
so that you can reset. One thing you just said that I want to explore with you and just to support you through, just something to think about.
hmm
Anytime we put my behind something,
hmm
we take ownership of it,
yeah.
right? So think about my house.
hmm
How am I going to treat my house if someone entered it or tried to take it from me?
hmm
I'm going to be like, what?
I'm going to be defensive and protective by all means.
Protective of it in order to keep it, right? Because
Yeah.
it belongs to me.
Yeah.
So one of the things I often tell my clients is don't put my behind something you don't want ownership of.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say my depression,
Oh, okay.
you are literally owning it, right?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
opposed to when I'm experiencing depressed feelings, depressed moods, depressed phases,
hmm
right? So what you've done is you've acknowledged that this thing is happening
hmm
to you,
Yeah.
but you're also acknowledging that it's not who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
That too will have your brain experience it differently. Like how you were just saying, you know, I was having that struggle trying to come up out of it.
hmm
But if you're telling your brain that it belongs to me,
hmm
part of you doesn't want to let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
and it's funny because God, I was talking to somebody this week. And I think the person said my anxiety. It was something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or my trauma. It might have been my trauma.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, when we put my behind something,
Yeah.
we're telling the brain it belongs to me. I own it, and I'm going to protect it and hold on to it
Yes.
because I own it. As opposed to, this is an experience, I'm having it.
Yeah.
It's outside of me, but I don't own it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to own it. So
yeah.
I'm hoping that helps you and somebody else,
Yeah.
that our words are so powerful when we say, it's like the I am.
Yeah.
Right? Like affirmations, when you say, I am this or I am that,
Mhm.
you're telling the brain and the body, this belongs to me. This
Yeah.
is who I am,
Mhm.
as opposed to, just being choosing at what comes after your I am really powerfully, and choosing what comes after my powerfully.
Yeah. Autopilot too.
It's definitely autopilot. It's how we've been trained to talk to ourselves.
Yes.
And we often, my daughter was doing a workshop, I don't know, a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and she was doing a workshop the same day I was doing a workshop. So she was doing a workshop, but she was doing it for teenagers. I was doing it for adults. And I was in the city, and she called me, and she was so upset because she thought she messed up the time of the event. She was missing some of her materials, and she started to like get really, really upset.
Yeah.
And she, was using words about herself. And I said, hey. I said, I used my goddaughter, because she has a really good relationship with my goddaughter, who's like, I don't know, 9 or whatever, 8. I said, would you talk to Zoe that way if she came to you and she had made a mistake? And she was like, absolutely not.
Mhm.
I was like, well, if you wouldn't talk to Zoe that way, you shouldn't talk to yourself that way.
Yeah.
I said, and would you talk to your friends that way? No, I wouldn't. Okay, well, you wouldn't talk to yourself. And then I told her, look in the mirror and imagine yourself as when you were little.
Yeah.
What are the words you would say to yourself as a little girl if your little girl self came to you and said, oh, I made this mistake?
Yeah.
She was like, oh, I would tell her it's okay. It's no big deal. Mistakes happen. I said, great. Now I need you to tell yourself that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I, just to your point, we say sometimes even in our quiet moments, we're talking to ourselves, and the things we're saying are not things that we would say to our loved ones.
Yeah. Totally not.
But
we'll
we're
just
repeating them, but we're
yeah.
repeating them to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like all of those autopilot kind of things are just the core of like the old autopilot that just plays and plays, because those are things that, you know, I'll be berated on as a kid,
Mm,
so that's why it's going to take a long time for me to
reprogram.
reprogram it. So I'll still have those little thoughts here and there in the autopilots, but I'll still have like lots of clarity. Like the other day I was having a huge clarity of like that whole experience doesn't define me. Like I'm not going to take ownership of how and what happened to my body is different than from me and my spirituality of who I am.
Wow.
So I was separating the two. Like this was a thought that I was having, like I think before I woke up. And I was like, I have to like come out of it instead of
Yeah.
being in it,
Yeah.
realize like I'm something different than what happened to me.
That requires so much restraint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because the natural inclination of any human being is to want to blame and to make meaning and to
Yeah.
like, but to have the restraint to be not to like almost remain neutral in it. It sounds like what you did, to remain neutral in, this is what happened. This is who I am.
Yeah. And that's a hard space to fully sit in and get to.
How did you get there? What were some of what do you think some of the little kind of lessons that you learned that ultimately got you there?
It's been many, many years of the lessons and things that I've been listening to, and people and speakers and all of it, like from Deepak to,
So what's one that stood out to you?
I think Deepak or somebody was saying how like it was another woman too on Oprah's show, where you just realize like it's a difference between like your experiences and your spirituality, and like we said before, where you're a spiritual being having a human experience. So before I always lived in my body and what happened to me. So I was stuck in it because I lived in that experience for such a long time. So that was that's who I was. That was my identity of it. So to escape that identity, I was an artist, and I had to do all of these things. But as I'm getting older and unpacking all of it, I have to figure it all out and tell the story. So the story is the story, but now I'm changing it and transforming it to make it the pain is going to be my passion and purpose. So I'm going to change all of it now. So for me to change it, I have to transmute it and come out of it.
Yeah.
So then I can help other people. Otherwise, I can't help other people tell my story without it consuming me.
Yeah.
So I want to help people, let them know that it doesn't have to define you and consume you. You have to feel it and go through it and realize, like, it's something that happened, but it's not who you are. It's not, you're still loved. You're still enough. You're still worthy. You can get through life and do all the things you want to do.
Mm. So it's interesting when I hear you speak, I always see your transformation in like phases and steps.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're vibrating so so high cognitively in terms of your awareness of even yourself. And it's not like you don't have low moments, but like even your awareness of self.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Here's where I am. I'm going to go through it. I know I'm not going to be here forever, and I'm going to move through it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of the phases of your journey and your healing where you were like in it.
Yeah.
And you didn't have this awareness, but you were in it. What strategies did you use? Right? Because I'm thinking of someone who's watching this,
Yeah.
who shares your experience, right?
Yeah.
And they're thinking to themselves, I'm not where she is.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like I'm not where she is now. I'm in the part where she was talking about where it was just really tough and it was
Yeah.
hard and
Yeah.
emotionally just draining.
Mm-hmm.
What strategy or strategies did you use during that phase?
During the real shit,
Like the initial
yeah.
like stripping down part of
Yeah.
the healing.
Yeah. So it's funny because right before I came on here, I watched our very first podcast that we did. So that was 11 months ago.
Crazy.
It's almost a year. I gotta find a date that we did it so we can come back on that date. And then have some champagne. So
I know.
it's been 11 months of it. So it's almost a year of this journey. And what tools did I use? I mean, I've always had this innate ability to follow things I love to do. So one thing I would definitely tell people is, one, get outside and walk. Okay, so I was going to break it down where these were going to be things that you would have to do to get through and get the art of living to make, transform and evolve, and to take steps to get out of these things, because I went through the whole depression. I went through all of these things. So that's why I'm able to help people go through it and help them along the way. But I definitely think that people need to find what they've always wanted to do as a kid. That's one tip, because the thing you always wanted to do as a kid, or the thing that won't leave you, that's what you should be doing. Something that you always wanted to do that just won't go away. Like you have to find that thing.
And I love that you said that, because that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a career either.
Yeah.
You can do it because it brings you joy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I'm going to do this as my job, but I'm going to do this to fill myself up.
Yeah. So definitely find some of the things that you love to do. The other definite thing is to talk to friends. Talk to, if you need a therapist, you need somebody, you have to talk to people, because if you stay in your hole, that doesn't work. So you have to talk to people, you have to connect with people. So connecting, finding your passions, going outside for a walk, drinking lots of water, eating better, taking your vitamins, taking more self-care,
I love that.
self-care and self-love. So that's all the things that I did. And also I gave myself permission to just be sad and do nothing
Mm.
and not keep pushing myself in the rat race. Cause I had to really decide, like I told you before, like I had to really decide whether I was going to invest in myself or go
Yeah.
back to the rat race. So my girlfriend who knew me the whole time in business was like, in the fashion industry, she's like, Linda, you can't go back. It's like, we'll figure out something. We have to figure it out together because you can't go back there. Because neither of us was happy doing that, you know? So find what makes you happy and then go for it because it'll never go away. And then eventually, if you're doing what you love and you're doing your passion and purpose, the money, I feel like, will come.
Wow.
The money will come because people will resonate to authentic people who are talking in their power and purpose, and they'll resonate and gravitate to you. So if you're being your authentic self, they can be like, wow, I love Sunne-Ryse. Oh, I love Linda. She's just herself, and this is who she is. And she talks, you know, however she's talking. She went through all of these experiences. She's awesome. I'm gonna listen to her or do whatever, you know, follow them. So
Yeah.
if you are a genuinely kind, good-hearted person and following your passions, I feel like the money will come.
Yeah.
Because you're happy and you're radiating light.
Yeah.
People will feel like if you hate your job, you hate working at McDonald's, even
People
the,
gonna know.
you know, like,
They gonna know.
so
You're not
but
fooling anybody. They gonna know.
people feel it and we're like, oh, you need to leave, you need to quit because you're miserable. You're making us miserable. I want to be happy coming here to get a fish fillet.
Not the fish fillet. Not the
My
fish.
fish fillet.
I love that though. It sounds like, it sounds simple, but self-care is a form of self-love.
And that's something I never really knew to do or
Mm,
made time to do ever in my life. Ever. Like I'll only do self-care when someone else wants to do it with me. You know,
hmm,
like do a facial, let's do a massage, let's go get our nails done,
yeah.
let's go do this. I don't do those things unless like I'm going with a girlfriend. Like, oh yeah, let's do some self-care now.
Oh, child, I do that by myself all the time.
Well, that's what I mean. Like I never do that. Never.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's, I love that. I hope you're writing down like the healing strategies,
yeah.
like, because as you were talking, that's what I kept seeing, these phases,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that people are watching and listening to us. And there may be a lot of people who are journeying on the same path to their healing, right? They're hustling to their healing the way you did,
Yeah.
and really wanting you to share
Tips.
what was the hustle.
Yes.
You know what I mean? What was the hustle? One of the hustles during a particular phase is like self-care, right? Go for walks.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to be in nature. Allow the surroundings of earth to actually heal you.
Yeah.
I think many people forget that, the reason why we are, our environment is so toxic is because everything is in the air,
Yeah.
right? But when you go outside and you walk, your body is absorbing minerals and whatever the earth actually naturally gives off.
Yes.
It's not just the oxygen that we get from the trees.
No, it's
So
totally scientific and so true. Like even they also say, I think in Japan, they'll say like, go get a tree bath.
what is that?
Just go with the trees. Just sit with the trees. Like you will feel, even if you touch a tree, you'll feel the energy from the tree because the tree has all of its signals and roots going down to Mother Earth and all the leaves and everything. Like they have all those signals. Also mushrooms too. Mushrooms put out like huge amounts of like signals everywhere. So like if you're just in the forest, you're having like a tree bath here. Just be with that touch tree. Just sit there, meditate.
That's actually one of the things I want to do for my birthday. I'm going to go hiking for my birthday. I had someone on my podcast who she runs a hiking group here in Jersey, and she was on my podcast, Tanisha.
Yes.
And yeah, I want to do one for my birthday.
I think I wrote in the comments, I was like, we got to go hiking.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
We should go hiking and talk
I've
about
never
it. But that tree bath thing, I'm like, shucks, I need to go find some trees and sit under them.
go sit outside with the trees. It's also like we all wear rubber shoes, and so we're not connected to earth as well. So I forget what it's called, but like the electromagnet, whatever,
Mhm.
the nature of the earth, that you have to get grounded and you have to go outside, go near ocean, go wherever it is, just sit outside, sit on the ground, put your
Yeah.
hands on the ground, and sit there for like 20 minutes every single day and just absorb and gets rid of all like the toxins and your imbalance of your energy, because you're around like computers, phones, wi-fi, all of this. So even when I even feel it, like when I'm driving to the park, I drive through
Mhm.
this one area where it's all trees, and literally anytime I'm in those areas, I feel a difference.
Yeah.
I'm like, this every time I drive near these trees, like I always feel a difference. So it's definitely
Mm.
in the air. So it's very important.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get me a tree bath. I'm gonna go do some self-care.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think yeah, it's that's a great way for us to help people soar. Wink, wink.
Yeah, right.
Yay. We did it again. We made it
Always, we always.
through a week, through another week.